So hey guys, today we're talking about cards that specifically banish face down. So if we just search banish face down like this, does this one work or is face down one word? No, it's two. Alright. So cards that banish face down. So first we're going to go over the pre-Kashtira cards that banish face down. So we're also going to, well, are we? I guess we'll throw these in. So they're ones that banish for cost, like Pot of Prosperity and Pot of Desires. Gizmic Orochi also banishes face down. And then let's see. One tuner plus one non-tuner. You banish one card from your hand, then target one of your banished dark monsters. Special summon that monster face up or in face down defense position. During the end phase, inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each set card on the field. Dark Dimension Soldier. This is a level 5 Synchro Monster. Interesting. Effect. Dispatcher at home. Truly. Well, okay. Focusing back up. I already know most of the cards, so let's see. So this banishes for cost. This doesn't banish face down, does it? Oh, it does banish face down, but it requires the battle phase, and it's rock, paper, scissors. And then this shit just banishes monsters and puts them face down on the field, which is not the same at all. And this doesn't actually do it, right? Then let's see. Does this banish face down even? I guess this banishes your own cards face down, so same tier as same type of card as Pot of Prosperity, Treasure Panda. Okay, and we have Small World, same thing, banish your own card. Desire, banish your own card. And we're not mostly looking for those. Let's see, where are they? So this actually banishes face up, but flips a card face down, so that's not what we're looking for. And evenly matched, here's the first one. This can banish your opponent's cards face down, and then we have Cyframe Overload. Both of these are not hard once per turn, which is just interesting that they have this much in common. A lot of commonality, surprisingly enough. Okay, and then looking for a particular trap here, I think. No, it's not a trap, it's a quick play spell, actually. So let's see if we can find it. Well, okay, let's just search. So Dark Magician actually has this card, Chaos Scepter Blast. This also banishes cards face down. Interestingly enough, this is non-targeted, so there is that as well. So in terms of banish face down cards, there were not that many, and Banquet of Millions actually banishes only your cards face down, I believe. It was that weird type. And that doesn't really do it either. So I think that this is probably every single card that banishes specifically your opponent's cards face down. Free cash, I don't think I'm missing any, but I might be missing like one. I don't think I'd be missing two. I think this is about all of them. So let's just go over these and just look at how hard these are to kind of trigger. So with transmission gear. So this is arguably worse than evenly matched, of course, because not only do you have to also wait for the battle phase, but you probably have to go first with transmission gear, right? So during damage calc, if your monster battles an opponent's monster, play rock, paper, scissors with your opponent, make the losing player banish the battling monster they control face down. So now you also have to play rock, paper, scissors and probably win against your opponent. And that's how you get your banish face down with transmission gear. Well, actually, wait, I forgot that there actually are two more. So there is gift exchange, I believe. So if I could find that. Yeah, gift exchange banishes face down as well. And that was probably the only one I missed, I think. I don't think there's another one, so yeah. This is a roundabout way of doing it, but technically you're banishing your opponent's card face down, kind of. But your opponent chooses which card it is from their deck, so that's a bit weird. But anyways, if we have, let's see, Chaos Scepter Blast here. If we control a level 8 or higher spellcaster type monster, we can banish one card on the field face down, non-targeting. So this has a condition on it, and I believe every single one of these banish face down cards have some sort of condition. So this requires battle and then rock, paper, scissors. This requires your opponent to control more cards than you, and also battle and then banquet of millions. This requires your opponent to be playing extra deck monsters. Also, it's a trap. So technically, I guess it doesn't require your opponent to be playing any extra deck monsters for a banquet. You'll just banish your own card, so it's kind of useless. But in terms of banishing your opponent's cards, this doesn't do it anyways. This only banishes your own, so it's kind of like Desire's Deer. Then we have Psy-Frame Overload, where you can banish a Psy-Frame monster from your hand or face up from your side of the field. Then target one card on the field, banish it face down. This also has this lovely effect. During either player's turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, add one Psy-Frame card from your deck to your hand, except for Psy-Frame Overload. If you return this card with Omega, this doesn't count as getting sent to the graveyard. It's returned to the graveyard, which is different, so you would activate the search on the same turn, kinda, and if you have just one in the graveyard, it'll banish itself, then Omega puts itself back, and then you just keep doing that again and again, right? So if you had multiple copies of Omega, you'd be able to do this quite a few times, potentially. Which would have been cool, but yeah. One copy of Psy-Frame, Lord Omega. Whoop-de-doo. But anyways, focusing back up. Well, actually, just worth mentioning, I guess, is if Macrocosmos is active, I'm pretty sure you can still return cards to the graveyard, because it's just cards that get sent to the graveyard that get banished, so probably doable, but that's me getting distracted a little bit. So anyways, these are essentially all the cards that banish face down. It's just going to be Transmission Gear. We're going to have Gift Exchange, Chaos Scepter Blast, Psy-Frame Overload, Evenly Matched, Banquet of Millions. Doesn't actually count, but the rest of these do. Banish your opponent's cards face down. And as you can see, banishing your opponent's cards face down, not super easy to do. But aside from that, I forgot about it because the card got banned, but Diablosis banishes cards from your opponent's extra deck face down, and then just banishes a few cards from your opponent's deck face down. And free cash, that the effect of whenever a card from your opponent's deck or one of your opponent's cards, I think, is just banish face down. You can banish face down or cards from your opponent's deck face down equal to the number of face down banish cards they have. As you can see, that effect was perfectly fine because there were basically no cards that could really banish face down. So first of all, with Evenly, if we had Diablosis with Evenly, well, that's awkward, isn't it? But then if we had Psy-Frame Overload with Diablosis, how did you get Diablosis and Psy-Frame Overload? So many good questions. Chaos Scepter Blast. What? You control a level 8 or higher spellcaster type monster and Diablosis. And you also have Chaos Scepter Blast. Now that's pretty whack, right? Gift Exchange? I mean, reasonable enough. This is somehow the most reasonable out of all of these. Well, that's interesting, I guess. And then I guess you can give your opponent something goofy like a Desires if your opponent wishes to lose like half their main deck. Well, actually more than half, because if you play 40 cards, you draw 5 at the start of the duel essentially, right? So, that would be 35 cards in main deck, banish 20, leaving you with less than half, so you're at 15 cards left in the main deck. Except you also draw once per turn and also gift exchange, so that's like uh neg 2 more. And then that gift exchange probably might trigger Diablosis. And also Diablosis banishing a card from your extra deck, so it banishes a little bit more than half, so you're probably looking at like maybe 10 cards left in deck or something after activating that desires if you're feeling that greedy, but alright, whatever. Now looking at the cards we have, post cash, we have Nimlaria. But only this card specifically, that I'm pretty sure none of the Nimlaria cards actually banish cards face down, except like maybe a few of your own from the extra deck. That's about it. But then Dreaming Nimlaria actually banishes cards face down. As you can see here, face down, then shuffle one of your face down banish cards into your deck for each card you banish by this effect. So Dreaming Nimlaria specifically banishes cards face down. And that's about the only card that's been released, aside from like Cash, that banishes face down. One card. Let's freaking go. Specifically, look, I need to check this real fast. Does this even banish cards face down? Oh, wait, Bayonet Punisher banishes cards from the extra deck face down. That's one other card I kind of missed. And this one banishes cards face down from like wherever. But this is only your own, so that's kind of Pot of Desires here. I think I might have missed a few cards kind of like this. I think Stromberg might do that as well, and Dune Kingdom, but we're really focusing on Banish for effect, so every single cash card pretty much has some way to banish for effect, aside from like Shangri-Ira. And even Big Bang banishes for effect. So in terms of like just banish face down, like pretty much every single Kashtira card does it. It's just like a little different in what card they banish and like where they banish. So they're very, some of them are very conditional, like preparations. So preparations is honestly complete garbage. Because this is so easy to play around. It's actually kind of laughable, honestly. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything too super special about these, but yeah, alright. With Kashtira, we have Fenrir, Vanish, face up card on the field, specifically one that your opponent controls, I believe. Let's see, target one face up card your opponent controls, yep. And then we have Fenrir, banish one from extra deck, Kashtira Ogre, banish from main deck, Kashtira Riser, banish 3 from the main deck, and then we have, I guess Birth, banish 3 from the graveyard if your opponent activates a spell, and they have 3 cards to banish, so you can somewhat play around that as well. So a bit awkward on that. And then there is Kashtira Arise Heart effect to just generically banish a card on the field. This can target technically both players. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure this is probably every single card that banishes face down, so admittedly, not that many cards banish face down, like, at all. And if we look at ones that are just searchable, I believe Sideframe Overload is technically searchable, but like it's not that great. So if we go Sideframe, the Sideframe card that searches Overload is actually Sideframe Lord Lambda, which is incredibly awkward, right? So a face-up psychic monster you control is banished face up while you control this monster, except during the damage step, you can activate this effect during the end phase of this card, add one Sideframe card from your deck to your hand, which Sideframe Overload is, of course. And Sideframe Overload can, of course, search some other cards, but yeah, you guys might be able to tell that this is incredibly awkward. Yeah. So if I want to search with Sideframe Overload, How do I search exactly? Well, if I were to search this searches it in the end phase. So that means what turn will I be able to use Cyframe Overload? So if I open it in my hand, I can first activate it on turn 2, assuming I'm going first. And then turn 4, if I'm going first, and I have to search it off of Lambda. So, damn. That takes quite a while to get live. And then Banquet of Millions. Uh, yeah, this isn't searchable because it's not an archetype card. You can only search it with generic trap searchers, which is like weird. But this sets the banish face down anyways. Evenly matched. Yeah, same kind of deal. So, yeah, that's not great. Exterior preparations. This card's honestly just useless. I don't really care that much about this card, so we're not even going to bother thinking about this. Bayonet Punisher, completely unsearchable. Well, aside from like extremely generic spell searches. So, not really usable to an extent. Chaos Scepter Blast. This is actually searchable because it mentions Dark Magician. Maybe. It says Dark Magician of Chaos. I'm not sure if this counts, honestly. This might not be searchable if that doesn't count. Because I believe you have some cards that say specifically mention Dark Magician or something. You can search those cards with is it with Eternal Soul? No. Eternal Soul doesn't work. Okay, so then it's probably going to be let's see if we can find it. It's a UR, I think, right? Is it not? The blindness is really kicking in here. Dark Magician mention. Okay, so Soul Servant, place one card on top of the deck from your hand, deck, or graveyard that is Dark Magician or mentions Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, except for Soul Servant. So, I mean, this has the word Dark Magician, but it doesn't specifically say Dark Magician. So I'm not sure about the ruling on this, honestly. It says Dark Magician of Chaos, which is like kind of Dark Magician. So, pretty iffy if you can search this. Gift Exchange, is this searchable? I mean, no, not really. So, Transmission Gear, not really searchable either. So, yeah. The most searchable out of all these cards, at least from my knowledge, if this is not searchable, it's just going to be just Cyframe Overload. And this is going to be better than Chaos Scepter Blast to an extent because this is a card that you can use soft once per turn. So if you control multiple Cyframe Overloads, you can use those. If you have multiple cards to banish, you can just keep using these. So looking pretty solid in that regard. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.